Hey everyone, welcome to the weekly casual unedited garden stroll. I was just working outside and I thought, it seems like it's dark. And I forgot about daylight savings time. So I wanted to do this quickly. I just forgot. I forgot all that we were into daylight savings time now. So anyway, we are starting today in the basement because one of the things I've been working on is storing the dahlias. I dug half of them last weekend, rinsed them, had them down here, and then I actually finished packing them up today, which is a little longer than I should have let them dry, but they'll be okay. And I just dug the second half and rinsed them off. So I thought I'd show you some of the clumps of tubers. Some are huge. Look at the size of this clump of tubers. Now, I believe, oopsies, I should probably point the camera at what I'm talking about. I believe that this one was one that actually overwintered in the ground last year. So it's just absolutely huge. So I think that's Lakeview Peach Fuzz. This is Hamari Gold. This one has some very kind of old looking tubers on. I think I'm probably going to end up cutting all these kind of older looking ones off. And then this guy this is Penn Hill Dark Monarch. And you can see we've got some bad tubers on there, but I let everything dry and then I cut off the bad stuff. Here's some of the rest of them up here. Literally just rinse them off. And I didn't do a great job rinsing them off. So what I do is, and by the way, I've done videos on this, which is why I'm not doing a whole video on it because nothing has changed, but I'll link to that if you're looking for information. But the way I do it is I dig them, rinse them off, dry them for usually just a couple of days down in the basement. And then what I will do is come in here and I will trim off all these little spindly bits, none of which are needed because it just kind of cleans it up and makes it nice. And I don't divide in fall. I like to divide in spring after things have had a chance to store. I think clumps tend to store better than single tubers. I'm bored with these by now, so I don't want to spend the time doing it anyway. And also, I don't like to grow from single tubers. I like to grow from clumps. So sometimes it matters how many clumps I have left. That depends on how much I will divide them. Like if there's one that I want to grow a bunch of, I will just divide it more. And if there's others, I just leave them as kind of bigger clumps. Okay, and then this is where I've packed some up. I wish the dehumidifier was not running here right now. So I store in animal bedding. Works well for me in these collapsible crates that I use for everything. Hi, Fergus. And I just kind of nestle them in the animal bedding. And then they will go into this little room, which is where, if you watch the banana storage video, that's where those guys are too. So let's go for a tour now. Okay, now we're outside. So let's go for a quick tour around the yard. I'm starting to button some things up, even though we still haven't had a killing frost, and we just had the one kind of light frost still. I am enjoying this kind of extra long season to get things done at a pace that I choose instead of rushing around like a crazy person, which is what I usually do. First, I wanted to start with the ginkgo. I've been taking pictures of this ginkgo every day. It just started dropping now. I imagine it'll be done by tomorrow, I would guess. This is one called Gnome, although all ginkgos get this beautiful fall color on them. You can see Rosy Teacups Dogwood has dropped all but the top bits of its leaves. Meanwhile, Edgeratum just keeps flowering and flowering and flowering away. Very cold tolerant, clearly. The fall container is still looking great over there, if you can see that. And here is where these are the dahlias and some other ones that I dug today. So the Euphorbia Ascot Rainbow, I'll probably just try to overwinter it there. And the Carex Feather Falls will stay in here over winter. I ended up kind of braiding this one and tying it up to just kind of get it out of the way so I could clean up a little. Meanwhile, the window box you know, defies all logic and just keeps on trucking. So fortunately, now that I've done that, I will be able to come in here with a ladder, have a little bit more room, and be able to pin up. This is Above and Beyond Climbing Rose, which put on a ton of growth this fall. So I need to get in there and secure all that growth or prune it off, whatever needs to be done there. You can see the pile of dirt in my driveway. That's where I rinse off all the dahlias. The climbing hydrangea is almost finished with any real color. If the sun was out, it would look a little better. This is this Acer Japonicum aconitifolium, and its leaves are real crispy. And I don't remember that it didn't get its good. I think it just was, you know, dry this year because it didn't get its best color this year. And now instead of like just falling off, they sort of curled up. I thought that was a little, I don't know, seems a little ominous. Here's another ginkgo over here. This is, what did I say this is? I think it's Goldspire. I might have that wrong. But I talked about that one last week. So also absolutely stunningly gorgeous right now. And will, like all other ginkgos, basically drop its leaves more or less in one fell swoop. But it sure is beautiful right now. I appreciate it for that. Other things in the garden are, you know, starting, it's just funny. So, you know, some of these things are, like here, we've got this echinacea, pretty parasols, pink parasols. Just putting up a few little blooms here. Don't know what that's about, but it's fine. Go for it. And this is Amsonia string theory. Not quite as good as color right now as the Amsonia hubrectii, but I believe hubrectii is in the background of this plant, and I think it will get brighter as fall goes on here. But the two-tone nature of it actually I think is really pretty. Arixa japonica here is pretty much done with its leaves for the most part. Everything's kind of given up the ghost here. We did, this tree is coming down. Oh man, I just see another bad branch up there. This tree right here, this spruce, this one, is coming down this week. We just had the tree guy just stopped over today to give us the quote on it. And then we're gonna take off this branch right here of this maple, which is, if you can see, it's pretty dead and chunks of it fall off all the time. So just that bottom branch, as long as he's up there. I think this season is when maybe the Hacklemacloa shines the best. I mean, it looks good all year, really, truly, but it just is really looking so nice in the garden right now, and, you know, providing good perennial color. I mean, we all expect our trees and shrubs to provide good color, but it's always nice when we get some perennials that are providing some great color too. So there's 3 different ones here. This stripy guy is Aureola. The green one behind it is Macro, which is a reversion from this one. And then we've got all gold back there. Some of the grasses are still looking good. Now, I've not really been over in these beds yet to do, I mean, I don't really do any fall cleanup in these beds typically. Although I would like to get in here and, you know, do a really good weeding. If we get to that, that would be fabulous. This is a rusty foxglove right here. So, like, I'd love to leave this stuff standing because hopefully those seeds are going to drop and will reseed nicely for me. And then I don't have to worry about that. No, they can't get in that way. He likes to go into the vegetable garden and eat the tomatoes. And he was just like pushing on the door, thinking he could open up the door. Come here. Come here. Come here. Good boy. Good boy. This is Carex pennsylvanica growing through here, which is starting to brown out a little bit. But it's nice to see some of the brilliance ferns that I planted in here popping up a little bit, which is nice. I did not cut this back last year. I just let it keep growing. And this year I am going to cut the Carex back in spring and let them fully reflush with foliage. Both that one and then this one right here, which is Carex flocka blue zinger, which I have growing all over here as well. Oh, we've got a serious case of the overtired zoomies going on. We made sure he got a lot of exercise today so we would sleep well tonight. And he's, overtired. I still have a few plants here that so this is the Melianthus. Apparently it's sometimes called peanut butter plant, and it truly does smell like peanut butter. I thought this was like just out of our zone hardy, like I was thinking it was zone 7 maybe, and I was gonna overwinter it in the garage, but turns out it's not that hardy. I think it's only to 8. So, but apparently you can overwinter this like inside, so that's gonna come in, but it seems quite happy out here right now. And then we've got one of the Fiona Sunrise Jasmines, and the other 2 are still in the window box there. This is the one that was with the banana. Sunshine Ligustrum, and Mahonia Soft Caress, which is so beautiful. So those we'll try to overwinter those in the garage. They are not hardy here, but I'm hoping I can make it warm enough in there that will have them survive. And if they don't, well, you can always buy these things again. Just noticing here, the color is actually really quite pretty here right now. And I don't even know when this happened, but I think even last week I said, oh, I don't think this Acer palmatum moonrise, no, this is Shirozawam, excuse me. I said it didn't get very good fall color, but here we are, and it turned full on golden since last weekend. I have no idea when that happened, but I'm glad it did because, let's just talk color for a second here if we back up enough. Hacklemacloa all gold down here. This is the blue globe spruce. And then we have the Acer there with that beautiful gold color on it. It's a pretty good combination. And even over here, where the climbing hydrangea, this climbing hydrangea obviously keeping a lot more green. It's in a significantly more shade than the other one, so I assume that's part of the reason. But that's looking good. Here's the Eclipse hydrangea right here, which is just fabulously gorgeous. Some viburnum color happening there, a little bit anyway. The garden is starting to develop some pretty big holes as I dig out dahlias and other things. So some of these dahlias, like, I'm not going to keep this one. So I'm just, I'll probably come in and pull it out. But I'm not going to keep this one, so I'm not worrying about that one. Of course, there's the hole where the banana used to be. Mr. Much More Patient said to me, and he goes, it seems like you're digging out a lot of plants. Why don't you just plant things that can stay in the ground? I mean, he's not wrong, right? But I said, well, you just got to undo spring, I guess. You can finally see with the leaves off of this willow here, this grafted weeping willow that we have here, which is Salix purpurea, I think, which is grafted onto a different kind of willow trunk. You can finally kind of see what the structure of that looks like. It got so cousined. I think I did serious cutbacks of that tree twice this year. That's how aggressive that thing grows. I probably wouldn't plant that again in that spot. But I tried several trees in that spot, and none of them ever worked. So I lost several of them. No, I lost at least 2. There was a an Anne or a Jane magnolia. And then what was the other thing? I lost at least 2 other things there. And so finally I went with this, and I like the height and I like that it's weeping, but it's a little bit messy for me, I think. Here's that Dalmatian Peach Foxglove that we looked at last week. Still looking fabulous. And we still have one more bloom. I'll have to raise the camera up for you to see it. Still one more bloom. Hopefully you can see that there on the Gravetide Beauty Clematis. And then a whole bunch of these really beautiful seed pods, which are so fun to see. I don't cut most, like this garden, some of this stuff I'll cut back. Like for instance, I kind of like to leave the Baptisia standing, but it does kind of flop quite a bit. So at some point, I feel better cleaning some of these things out to create a little bit more neatness for the eye in winter. So I might come in there and cut that off. We'll kind of see where I end up and how I feel the day that I'm walking around with my pruners in my hand, because that's, let's be honest, that's part of it. And I just now am remembering that one of my fall jobs was going to be to sort out this Kinsley's Ghost honeysuckle vine here, which I have growing as, I don't know, sort of a tree-ish, shrubbish thing. And actually, I saw a photo from Chanticleer where they have one of these that they have trained into like a low tree form. And that's what I'd like to do. I'm going to go in there and get rid of a lot of the stems at the bottom. These things put on an absolute ton of growth in spring, so I'm not worried about that. So I'm going to go in there and prune out a lot of, let's see if I can kind of show you what's in there. So you can see it's quite a tangle there at the bottom. So then I'm going to prune out a number of those stems and just kind of clear this out a little bit and try to aim more for that tree form that they're doing at Chanticleer, which is kind of what I've been trying to do. Just never occurred to me to prune it down to just a few starting at the base there. And then, of course, we have these willows now that they're starting to lose their leaves, and we've gotten rid of, this is golden curls willows. These were bought at Home Depot, actually, in spring. And this one, they were the last 2 left, and this one was always dinkier than the other one. I am going to leave these in these pots for winter and just use this as part of my Christmas displays. I might prune some of the twiggier bits off. There is no rush to do that. I can certainly do that now, or I can certainly do that in spring. They're willows. They should be just fine. So we're going to give these a shot at overwintering in these pots. It'd be nice if I could get them to match a little bit closer. And if I found a bigger one, you never know, I might just swap that one out. But we'll see what happens with them. That'll be another sort of winter experiment. All right, so that's it. That's kind of a quickie, but you know, there's not a lot happening that's changing. It's more of what I've been doing, and to give you kind of an update on where things are at with stuff here. Big jobs for me still in the garden are, I ordered a lot, like 25 alliums, Ambassador, which is one of my 2 favorites. And I think I ordered some Christophii and a few more snowdrops. So I have those to get in the ground. You know, when I'm doing my fall jobs, the last thing I get nervous about is the bulbs, because you can really put bulbs in whenever you get to it, as long as the ground's not frozen. So I worry less about getting those things done than things like digging dahlias, etc. I am considering getting a load of compost. I found a source near me that has, I had a long conversation with them. Did I talk about this last week? Maybe I did. Sorry if I'm getting repetitive. Anyway, I talked to them extensively about how they make their compost and what they're doing with, you know, invasive species like jumping worms and all that. And it was a very good conversation. And I think that, you know, I'm thinking I would like to top dress the entire garden with a couple inches of compost. This is something I used to do all the time, and I stopped doing because it's not fun. It's a pain in the butt to do. So I thought about that. And we're just gonna wait and see what the weather looks like. If there's a good weather window after I get my other things done, I think I will get a load of compost this fall and do half the garden this fall and then the other half of the garden come spring. And I think the garden really needs it. I think that would be very beneficial to do that. And I keep telling myself that every time I keep envisioning having to load up and move wheelbarrows full of compost, which is just the part that I just don't want to do. Anyway, that's what's happening here. If you guys missed any of last week's videos, I'm trying to think what the other one was. But we did do maybe there was just one this past week. Let's see, I can't remember anymore. But I did dig up the bananas. So if you are interested in following what's happening with the bananas, that video went up Thursday, I believe. So you can see what happened this year. As usual, there's a fairly humorous moment in it, which seems to happen every time I'm dealing with those giant bananas. And those have been put away for the winter. And we will see them again probably in April, even May. We'll see where it ends up. All right, I hope you're having a great day in your garden. And I hope your fall stuff is going good. Okay, that's it. Sorry it was short, but it's dark. It's just dark. It's the part I don't like. All right, I've talked enough. Talk to you later. Bye.